My dear friends, welcome to Rajashekhar classes on applied data science with Python. This is lecture number 498. In this lecture, we will try to understand time and space complexity of DBSCAN algorithm. So the average time and space complexity for DBSCAN would be the average time complexity is typically order of n log n because it typically takes log n times for your range query or region query with some optimization implementations like KD tree or octree. What happens is you have at most endpoints. You only call your range queries at most n times, no more than that, isn't it? So in general, you can assume that your time complexity is roughly equivalent to order of n log n, which is fairly decent and which is not like order of n square. And if you look at the space complexity, it is still order of n, isn't it? Space complexity is still order of n. Typically what happens in real world is for DBSCAN, it is designed from databases and databases and data mining community. It is designed in such a way that DBSCAN works very well when data is stored in databases in which range queries or regional queries are highly optimized, and your data often stored in a database. So space and time complexity is very, very healthy. Here you can assume your D is much less than n. D is the dimension, n is number of points, isn't it? Your data is often stored in databases, so database, and so space complexity is very, very healthy. The big problem is sensitivity. It is sensitivity to noise, isn't it? The big problem is sensitivity to noise, except that space and time complexity are very reasonable. It is slightly worse than k-means, because k-means has time complexity order of n, isn't it? What is k-means? K-means time complexity. Yes, let me write k-means. K-means time complexity is order of n, isn't it? Order of n approximately. DBSCAN fairly well. It works for large data set. It is better than hierarchical clustering. In the case of hierarchical clustering, what is its time complexity? Your time complexity is order of n square into log n, isn't it? And what is space complexity for hierarchical clustering? Order of n square, isn't it? For this is about hierarchical clustering. What about DBSCAN? As we are discussing, time complexity is order of n log n. And your what about space complexity? We were saying that this is time complexity. Your space complexity is order of n. Means if you compare with k-means, DBSCAN has got DBSCAN is worse than k-means in terms of time complexity, isn't it? But if you compare with the hierarchical clustering, time complexity of order of n square log n, but here you have order of n log n for DBSCAN. Your space complexity for DBSCAN is order of n, whereas space complexity for hierarchical clustering is order of n square, isn't it? Just go through this lecture. If you have any difficulty, please keep a comment. Thank you very much.